just finished roughing out a blank, and today's video I'm going to take this and we're going to make it into something entirely different, something we haven't done before. A scoop, a spoon. Interesting thing about doing this project is there's spindle work, because I have to create this little round shape on the end, and a handle. But then I have to hold it like this somehow in order to hollow that out. And you can make them different sizes. I made one where the outside diameter is 1 inch. Don't like that quite so well. But 1.5 inches seems to be about the size of a good coffee scoop. And I've made the handle at a slight angle. So I go in and dip out my coffee. I like the shape. There's several things you got to know about doing this. First of all, I'm going to have to turn a ball on the end here, like I showed you. It needs to be as round as I can get it. It doesn't have to be a perfect sphere, but the closer to being perfectly round it is, the easier it's going to be to hold it later, like that. So I went to the drill press and took 1.5 inch Forstner bit and made myself a couple of small templates so I can check the diameter, two sides of the same circle, so I can test it and see how that's come. I need those things. I'm going to do this in some fairly soft wood so that it goes pretty fast. You can do this in any species you'd like, but the hollowing out gets a little hollow, a little hard to do when you're working cross grain and something that's really, really hard. So being perfectly round is important. Not perfect, but it's important. The second thing is there's got to be some way to hold it. And I made a device for holding these to allow me to do the hollow. You'll see all this work together later. I've got to give credit where credit's due. I've tried a lot of different ideas. Made a ring that went inside the chuck. Doesn't work, it collapses. I made a 2-piece jig, figure out how this goes, like that, to go in the chuck to hold it. That doesn't work very well either. I can make it work. I made it out of softwood because I thought it would collapse and hold nice and tight. It does, but it's problematic. Carl Jacobson did a video some time ago where he adapted something he'd seen on the video, and I've adapted what he did. And so basically this is just a faceplate, a piece of end grain softwood, poplar in this case because it's fairly soft and flexible. I cut a bunch of slots. I hollowed this, or I didn't hollow this, I drilled this out 1.5 inches, the diameter of this, down 3/4 inch, half the diameter. And I took a little smaller Forstner bit and went all the way down in, and as you can see, put a band clamp around it. I wasn't sure whether the band clamp would clamp tight enough, but it does the job. So you'll see me use this at the very end, and it was easy to make. I spent maybe a total of about 45 minutes making it, sanding it, hollowing it out. And one of the little slots here I did have to shorten, and I had to do that so I could cock the handle in here. And if I wanted to do this perfectly straight, I'd have to cut it back a little bit farther. But this is my choice of how to do it. The band clamp was one of the highest quality I could get because I knew I wanted to put a lot of torque on it. And it works just fine. I've cut the tail off. I might actually sand a little bit more off. So when this swings around this way, the tail might slap me on the finger if I'm in the wrong place. But it won't cut me because I've put it on in that direction. So you'll see this. So basically I've got a piece of wood here. I just roughed it out with my roughing tool, which is a deep fluted gouge. Seems to be the one I tend to use the most frequently. So now I need to do my layout, and what I'm going to do is turn the globe on this end and the handle on this end. So I'm going to turn this, get it as good as I can get it, and then shape the handle, part this whole thing off. I'm not going to do any sanding. This all needs to be sanded inside and out, And then a finish you put on here, oil works pretty good, but remember if you're going to pick up things like sugar and flour, the oil has got to be totally dry. So that means linseed, certain types of walnut oil. Mahoney's walnut oil works pretty good. There's only 2 or 3 that we can use. So that's where we're going to go. So let me take my pencil. I'm going to not start right at the end. I've got to cut a little bit off here for my support. There's my 1.5 inches for my ball. So I'm going to reduce this down in here just a little bit so I can start doing that shaping. Keep those at hand. And most of the work is going to be done with the standard shallow fluted gouge. Eyes, play speed to 0, bring it up. I'm going to actually move the tool rest in a little tighter. And transfer my marks so I can see them better. That's one. There's the other one. Okay, the globe is inside of that. Spindle project, so I'm going as fast as I can. I picked 3,000. The other thing I need to do, just because it helps me turn a sphere, is to get a center mark. The goal of the center mark is try to not take it away. Let's create a little working room. Okay. Other side. That's pretty close. Close enough. Okay, I'll let that go. So shape is a matter of choice. Handle length is a matter of choice. Curve's not quite right in here, but I think I'm going to fix that with sanding, which is my next step. $120, $180, $220. Part it off on this end. Okay, part it off, slipped a little bit, I can see that, that's okay. Let's sand this end a little bit here. Make my little tool mark go away. Things always seem to move a little bit. Such is life. Okay, so now I'll part off the other end. Same technique, except I'm going to hold on to it. So we have the bases for a scoop. Okay, now we're changed to the special device for holding this globe. Take that out, disconnect my 4-jaw chuck, insert my special holder. Now I know there's a piece already mounted in here, but I'm going to take it out and put the one we're making in here. I'll just loosen this a little bit. Here's the one we want to turn. Actually, don't need the clamp. It fits in there very snugly because it's a tight fit. I got it to the right diameter, but we're going to put the clamp on anyway, just because I have it. Got the torque set on this so I don't overdo it. Put that away. So let's see if it's tight enough. I think it's going to stay. Now, clear the decks just a little bit. And because this handle is hanging out, I have to plan where my tool rest goes so that it doesn't hit the banjo or the tool rest. And if the angle is about the same as the handle, it's going to work just fine. Lock tight, lock tight. And the trick now is to only approach things from this side of the tool rest, including the switch. So let's turn the speed down and just see it go. So there's a lot of ways to hollow it, but this is a round surface, so I'm going to come in with my shallow fluted gouge right at center and get that flat so I can go inside. Now I got to get it just exactly the right height. That was a smidge low. Let's check. We're still clear. I'm going to go right into center. Start hollow it with my shallow fluted gouge. In straight, and then across. In. One thing we have to check from time to time is as this comes down that I don't run into the end of the shaft. And you can see I've got plenty of room to go yet. A little more speed, make an airplane out of it. Close we are. We've got about 1/8 of an inch above the outside edge, and I may stop right about there. I'm going to square that off a little bit. And now we start to hollow. Now I know you're wondering, how am I going to measure wall thickness and depth of my cut? And the answer is by guess. I know that it's 1.5 inches around. The bottom is right now only that deep. I've got to go down to about where the band clamp is. It's all by eye. measurement. So the wall thickness feels right down to about here. It still too shallow, by guess. I guess measuring is I got to feel as if this is the inside of a ball, and it's all really by guess. I don't know what I'm looking at. I can't see inside of there either. So the top third is shaped okay. As it rounds into the bottom, it's not right. It's still too fat there. You know, I can continue to do this. There's other tools that work. This is a tool that Mike Jankowski created. He calls it a pocket rocket. It works really fine. Down in here, that does great. This is a McNaughton hollower, two different shapes of it. Both also work fine. Here's a Jankowski knockoff that I made a few years ago. It has a little bit of an offset, which allows me to get back underneath the curve, all of which create a nice smooth surface inside. Now the rounding in the bottom is about right, but it's not curved quite correctly. So I could come in here with a tool like this. One thing about using some of these other tools is it gives me a nice smooth surface. Here's the Jankowski tool. The bottom is just not shaped quite right yet. Okay, the shape's better. It's pretty good shape, but it's not deep. It's not broad enough yet. I got it to come out a little bit more. So let's try the straight version. Curve is better, but it can go deeper still. So what tool haven't I used yet? I'll go back to this one just because I like my handle. we've got it. So, there it is. Let's take a closer look at it. I'll take a little sandpaper to it here for a second. Well, it came out pretty good. It is just a project for fun. It is important that we have a chuck of some sort in order to be able to get this cut just right. So, first thing was doing a scoop, slight offset. Next video I'm going to do a different kind of scoop, one that's even a little bit easier. So, come back, watch our videos, give us your comments and your feedback. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Couple of quick afterthoughts. First of all, you've got to make a fixture like this because about everything else doesn't work that well. But here's another thought. If you trying to hollow this out and use your finger as a test gauge like I just did, it's possible that that might happen. You miss your depth a little bit. Well, here's a solution. While this is still on the spindle, like this, measure this diameter with your calipers and take a drill bit and bore through the side here to that depth minus whatever wall thickness you're shooting for, 1/16 generally. Then when you chuck it up, that drill hole goes right here. And when you have reached the bottom of the drill hole, you are at wall thickness. Curvature on the side is easy because that should feel smooth and continuous, and the tip of your finger is perfectly good. But if you're having problems and you're afraid of getting that, drill a hole, turn down until the hole disappears at the bottom. You have reached your wall thickness and you won't go through the bottom. Give it a try.